The top stories tonight in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte prefers to withhold his judgment on the Department of Health until the agency responds to the Commission on Audit's report.
The Food and Drug Administration insists that a thorough study is required before allowing the COVID-19 vaccines.
The Department of Trade and Industry suspends a suggested retail price hike on some basic goods. Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno has been elected as the new Aksyon Demokratiko president.
Police arrests anti-lockdown protesters in Melbourne.
Social networking sites, Twitter and YouTube are banning any content that denies and glorifies Srebrenica genocide. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Quezon City. Today is Thursday, August 12, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news. President Rodrigo Duterte prefers to withhold his judgment on the assessment made by the Commission on Audit on the 67.32 billion pesos worth of funds in the Department of Health's COVID-19 response. Meanwhile, DOH insists that the funds allotted for the DOH are well spent. Rosa Licos will give us the details.
The Duterte administration is taking seriously the initial assessment of the Commission on Audit on the alleged mismanagement of pandemic funds by the Department of Health. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, President Rodrigo Duterte already instructed DOH to submit a comprehensive and clear response on this matter.
Ang COA po kasi isang constitutional body at talagang trabaho niya na bantayan ng kaban ng bayan. So importante na sagutin ng mabuti ang mga obserbasyon nito at ang presidente naman is withholding judgment until after makasumite ng komento ang DOH.
The palace official added the president will take the necessary steps after the final assessment of COA.
Ang pangako ng presidente, gagawin niyang lahat para matigil ang korupsyon. Wala pong sinasamba ang presidente. Ang nais lang niya makita tunay na ebidensya at pag naririyan po yan, meron naman pong kauklang aksyon na gagawin ang presidente.
Based on the response of the Department of Health, the 67.3 billion pesos noted in the COA report are compliance issues, procedural and documentary deficiencies which are currently being addressed. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Duque said the funds flagged by COA are accounted for and they are willing to report to the public how these funds were spent. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Lawmakers from the both houses of Congress have expressed their interest to probe the Department of Health. Nel Maribojoc will tell us why.
Senator Grace Poe filed a resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an investigation on the Department of Health's deficiencies in utilizing the 67.32 billion peso COVID-19 fund. According to Senator Poe, the DOH has a lot to explain that she expects the Senate probe would shed light on the issue. This move is supported by the Makabayan Bloc.
Paimbestigahan po natin ito, lalong-lalo na sa Committee on Accounts, Public Accounts, and even in siguro sa Committee on Good Government. Pero ang isa pong check dito ay talagang tutunggalin natin din ito pagdating sa budget deliberations.
For Gabriela Women's Party List Representative Arlene Brosas and Senator Risa Ontiveros, the DOH should have used the funds properly.
Ang masahol pa, 24.64 billion ang pondong nakatuwangwang at hindi ginamit ng DOH noong 2020. Nagamit sana ito para palakasin ang mga kapasidad ng mga ospital at maisalba ang buhay ng marami nating kababayan.
Malaking halaga ang 67.32 billion pesos at iyan ay sapat para sa benepisyo at tamang pasahod ng healthcare workers, agarang medical supplies, libreng serbisyong pangkalusugan at dagdag na ayuda para sa pinaka-nangangailangan.
According to Senator Panfilo Lacson, the issue on the Health Department's management of funds will be taken up during the budget deliberations in the Senate. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, residents of Laguna and Bataan provinces will also receive financial assistance from the national government amid the enhanced community quarantine implementation in their areas. Dante Amento tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has approved over 3 billion pesos worth of financial assistance for Laguna and Bataan. These provinces has also been placed under enhanced community quarantine. The Department of Budget and Management or DBM is set to release tomorrow the 2.71 billion peso budget for Laguna province, while 700 million pesos is allocated for Bataan. A 368 million peso additional fund will also be given to Metro Manila based on the updated list of beneficiaries provided by local government units.
Kasi yung unang release po natin para sa NCR ay based doon po sa estimated population po. But mas maganda na po para walang magreklamo, minabuti po natin na ang basihan po ay doon sa listahan ng nakaraang pagbibigay ng ayuda.
Recently, the DBM has released 10.89 billion pesos for NCR residents most affected by the ECQ. Meanwhile, the DBM has taken into consideration Tuguegarao City Mayor Jefferson Soriano's request for funds for cash assistance. This comes after Tuguegarao City unilaterally declared a 10-day enhanced community quarantine due to the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in the capital of the province of Cagayan. But DBM spokesperson Undersecretary Rolly Toledo explains that the ECQ declaration must be approved first by President Rodrigo Duterte and the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases before the Budget Department could release the budget.
Siguro ang mangyayari niyan, maghahanda po sila ng resolution ng nasabing LGU. Okay, at isusumito po ito para do sa Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases for review and consideration. At the same time, sabi ko nga, aprobahan po yan. Ngunit linawin ko lang po na hindi po basta-basta pwedeng magdeklara ng mga LGUs ng ECQ status. Ito po ay dapat pag-aralan mabuti ng IATF at EAID at tingnan po base sa mga kasalukuyang datos at impormasyon ng mga health experts.
Tuguegarao City has over 100,000 residents that could be affected by the strictest community quarantine restriction. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Health or DOH has detected 177 new COVID-19 Delta variant cases, 144 of which are local cases, while 3 are returning overseas Filipinos. 30 cases are still under verification. As of today, there are 627 total tally of the said variant.
The government has yet to receive the supply for the second dose of Sputnik V vaccines a month after the deployment of its first dose to different areas in the country. Despite the delay, the Food and Drug Administration does not recommend jabbing of mixed brands of vaccines and advises the public to wait for its supply. Asher Kadapan Jr. explains why. Asher, go ahead.
The Food and Drug Administration is optimistic that supply of Sputnik V vaccines, particularly for its second dose, will arrive promptly. This is for those who have already been inoculated with its first component last month. This as the country received about 130,000 doses of Sputnik V vaccines in July 2021 and has not received since then its second dose, which has a different component than the first jab. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer and Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. expressed plans to use AstraZeneca vaccine as second dose to those who were initially vaccinated with Sputnik V. But the FDA advises the concerned vaccinees to wait for the supply of the Russian-made vaccines. The agency cautioned the mixing brands will only be done if there is certainly no supply that will be available.
Well, hindi pa naman natin nire-recommend yon at this time kasi nga meron namang hinihintay sila na second dose, and we know na kahit ma-delay naman ng konti yung second dose, maaari pa rin naman siyang ibigay.
Based on the emergency use authorization by the FDA, Sputnik V vaccines should be taken in 2 doses with 42 days interval. Russian Direct Investment Fund recently revealed that 2 doses of Sputnik V vaccines may have up to 180 days of interval. Dr. Domingo, however, explains that the efficacy of the first dose will still take effect despite delays on the second dose.
Hindi naman siya mababaliwala. Actually, yung Sputnik nga, nag-apply na rin sila ng registration ng Sputnik Light, no? Which is already approved in some countries. And yung Sputnik Light, ang equivalent nun is yung first dose. Na ibig sabihin single dose lamang na parang Janssen, no?
Meanwhile, the FDA says health experts in the country are already conducting clinical trials for the use of the single-dose vaccine Sputnik Light. Diego?
Thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr., reporting live. For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Jeepney and tricycle drivers, as well as food delivery riders in Quezon City, got a chance to get vaccinated today through a drive-through vaccination. Mayor Joy Belmonte says the Vaccine Express, which has been launched in partnership with the Office of Vice President Leni Robredo, may help ramp up their vaccination program. JP Nunez reports.
This morning, jeepney drivers, tricycle drivers, and delivery riders lined up in Novaliches, Quezon City to get vaccinated through the Vaccine Express, an initiative of the Office of the Vice President. Arvin Espino, a food delivery rider, was thankful for getting a Sinovac jab. He did not need to leave his motorcycle when he got vaccinated.
Ayos naman, yung unang-una kasi organisado, kasi pagpasok ko pa lang sa entrance, talagang ginaguide na kami papunta dun kung ano yung step by step na gagawin. Mas mabilis po kasi hindi malilito yung mga rider.
Tuloy-tuloy lang siya, siguro less than 30 minutes tapos na yung lahat. Kaya hindi, yung mga kakayod pa ay pwede pang kumayod kahit po pagkatapos na lahat. Ito po yung kabutihan ng drive-thru kasi hindi ka aalis sa motor mo. Hindi ka din matatagalan hanggang sa monitoring ay hindi ka bababa.
The QCLGU and the Office of the Vice President aim to inoculate 5,000 drivers and riders until tomorrow, August 13. The no walk-in policy is strictly implemented at the Vaccine Express to avoid a super spreader event. This drive-through vaccination prioritizes public utility drivers as they have high exposure to COVID-19.
Mahalaga po yun kasi unang-una kailangan natin ng vaccination para panangga tayo sa anumang sakit. Delikado kasi sa nababalitaan namin, maraming namatay kaya nagpabakuna na rin kami, napilitan na magpabakuna.
Saglit na naman po, mabilis lang po yung pila. Okay naman po, priority po driver kasi nasa po kami, yung iba-iba pong mga pasahero, ganun. Kaya mas magandang priority driver po para kahit sino makahalubilo, okay naman po.
According to Mayor Joy Belmonte, the Vaccine Express will help Quezon City to increase the number of residents vaccinated against COVID-19 to achieve population protection from the virus.
Marami dito mga malalaking mga parking lots at mga open spaces. na pwede pang gawang vaccine express, no? Kaya siguro makikiusap na lang tayo pag-aapela sa ating pong pangalawang Pangulo na kung gusto pa nila, welcome na welcome sila dito sa Quezon City. Napakarami po natin mga mamamayan na nangangailangan pang magpabakuna.
Drivers who got inoculated through the Vaccine Express also received gift certificates for grocery items and a care kit which include vitamins. After 28 days, the OVP's Vaccine Express will return to Quezon City for the second dose of the drivers who received their first shot here. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Malacanang says it is still too early to decide on the fate of community quarantine in the National Capital Region after August 20. The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases has already recommended the community quarantine classification for Laguna, Iloilo City, and Cagayan de Oro. Rosalie Cos reports.
Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez is pushing for a less strict quarantine status after August 20. The official said that National Capital Region should just impose granular lockdowns in areas where there is a spike in COVID-19 cases to stimulate economic recovery. But presidential spokesperson Harry Roque stresses it is still early to decide on the community quarantine fate of NCR.
We all want a lesser quarantine classification ng mas marami pong taong makapagtrabaho. Pero ang decision nga po natin is total health. Titignan naman natin ang mga datos sa takdang panahon. Pero matagal pa po, 20 pa po ang katapusan ng ECQ dito sa Metro Manila.
Malacanang ensures the government will look into the COVID-19 situation and healthcare utilization rate before it decides on the next community quarantine classification. However, based on the projection of the Department of Health, 5-week ECQ could lower NCR COVID-19 infections. Meanwhile, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases has already recommended to President Rodrigo Duterte the next community quarantine status for Laguna, Iloilo City, and Cagayan de Oro. The ECQ period in these areas are in effect until Sunday, August 15, 2021. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, has recently received reports that several food delivery riders are seen violating health and safety protocols while waiting for their clients' orders at restaurants. These reports have prompted PNP Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar to issue a warning. Lea Ilagan reports.
Philippine National Police Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar has directed the chiefs of police and station commanders to coordinate with local government units and restaurant managers for the strict implementation of health protocols in their establishments. The PNP said food delivery riders should be carefully monitored on wearing face masks and face shield, especially now that COVID-19 cases are increasing again in the country.
May mga nakakita sa kanila na yung kanilang mga mask ay improper ang pagkakasuot, no, at kanilang mga face shield. Kaya yun dapat ang isang paalala din sa mga kababayan natin na mga sa delivery riders na dapat ay marunong silang sumunod sa ating minimum public health standards.
The PNP chief reminds police personnel to observe maximum tolerance and politely call the attention of delivery riders who are caught violating the minimum public health standards. The PNP encouraged the public to send pictures and videos to report violation of health protocols. Lea Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine Pediatric Society recorded more than 1,000 cases of COVID-19 positive children admitted in hospitals in the country. Nevertheless, PPS says it is not timely to vaccinate the younger age group. Marvin Calas reports why.
The Philippine Pediatric Society reports 1,143 children tested positive with COVID-19 admitted in hospitals as of June 30. Majority of them are considered mild cases, while around 8% are severe and critical. The Philippine Pediatric Society clarified that records are based under the registration system of the surveillance and analysis of COVID-19 in children nationwide, which only includes positive tested children admitted in select hospitals. Although it is not showing the exact number of children infected with COVID-19, the severity of infected children is very low.
The kids do not get as severely ill as the adults, no? But those children with comorbidities are the ones who, are at risk, because when they get hospitalized with the virus, it takes longer for them to recover, right? This is because they have comorbids, no? But in general, the children are less severely affected.
Amid the increasing cases of COVID-19 in children, the pediatricians does not recommend vaccinating children against COVID-19. Instead, it supports the government's effort to speed up vaccinating adults and the elderly.
Management of these children remain to be simple, supportive care, and adequate instructions and simple interventions to be given, to be advised to parents with proper home care. Yes, we do see severe COVID-19 disease, but this is commonly seen in children with concomitant immunocompromising medical conditions.
The pediatricians added that adults are the primary cause of transmitting the virus to the younger age group due to their exposure outdoors. Marvin Calas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The total number of COVID-19 cases recorded in the Philippines climbed to 1,700,363 today after the Department of Health, or DOH, reported 12,439 additional infections. In its 4 p.m. bulletin, the DOH said the latest tally pushed the country's active cases to 87,663. Of these cases, 95.3% are mild, 1.08% are moderate, 1.2% are asymptomatic, 1.5% are severe, and 0.9% are in critical condition. Meanwhile, total recoveries rose to 1,583,161 after 6,090 more patients recuperated from the disease. The death toll also increased to 29,539 with 165 new fatalities. The DOH noted that 2 accredited testing laboratories failed to submit data on time. Meanwhile, the overall global COVID-19 caseload has reached 204,841,605, while the deaths have surged to 4,327,243, according to the Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. is still the world's highest number of cases and deaths at 36,193,482 and 618,496 respectively, according to the CSSE, followed by India with 32,077,706 cases and 429,669 deaths. In terms of deaths, Brazil comes second with 565,748 fatalities and 20,245,085 confirmed cases. Other countries with more than 6 million confirmed coronavirus cases are Russia, France, and the United Kingdom. The Department of Trade and Industry is postponing the adjustment in the prices of some basic products. This is in order not to add to the suffering of the people, especially those affected by the two-week enhanced community quarantine. The agency approved the price hike for basic goods, including sardines, canned meat, noodles, milk, and coffee, which was supposed to take effect this month.
The palace is leaving it up to the Commission on Elections to decide on the appeal of some groups to extend the voter registration deadline for at least 1 month. This report will tell us why.
We leave it to the Comelec dahil ang presidente naman and the Comelec chairman and commissioners have the same access to the same information that we all know is happening. Meron pong pandemya.
This was the response of Malacanang when asked on its position on the calls of several groups to extend the deadline for the voter registration set on September 30. In time with the International Youth Day, the First Time Voters Network, together with various youth organizations, appealed to the Commission on Elections to extend the voters' registration. This as more areas in the country have been placed under stricter community quarantine and registrations are currently suspended. The group fears that out of the estimated 73 million Filipinos who are eligible voters for next year's elections, around 13 million might not be able to register.
Hindi bababa sa 2 buwan ang hinaba na ng kabuoang lockdown ngayong taon pa lamang. Sayang ang mga araw na hindi nagamit ng mga kabataan para magparehistro. 13 milyon ng mga kabataan at kababayan ang hindi makakapag-participate dahil lamang sa circumstances na hindi natin control.
They are also appealing to extend the voting hours, allow registration during weekends, and establish additional satellite registrations. The group says they have sent a letter to Comelec Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, but they have yet to get a response. However, on August 9, Guanzon maintained that the September 30 deadline will push through. The commission explains that they have a calendar to follow in preparation for the elections, such as finalizing the official list of voters and printing of ballots. Guanzon said that as of last month, the Commission recorded 5.45 million new voter registrants, which exceeded the 4 million target of Comelec. Meanwhile, around 6.3 million voters who were deactivated after failing to vote for 2 consecutive elections will be allowed to reactivate online. In a Facebook post, the Comelec Commissioner said that the delisted voters will be allowed to reactivate their voting status via email soon, as their biometrics are still in the Comelec's database. The Comelec has yet to release the guidelines for the reactivation. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno was elected as the new president of the Aksyon Demokratiko. The political party confirmed that Moreno was elected during the general membership meeting last Tuesday night, which was attended by incumbent officers, including co-founder Sonia Rojo and Aksyon Executive Vice President and Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto. Earlier this month, Mayor Isko resigned as Vice Chairman for Political Affairs and member of the National Unity Party. Moreno has yet to say whether his transfer would mean he will be running for a higher post in the 2022 national elections. His previous party, the NUP, is seeking an alliance with Hugpong ng Pagbabago, the regional party of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, who expressed willingness to run for the country's top post. The Taguig City government assures the public that there was no cause for alarm following the explosion and a blaze in a construction site in Bonifacio Global City last night. Initial reports reveal that a construction worker accidentally struck a gas pipe, resulting to a blast that caused the fire. Authorities confirmed that a project safety officer on duty was injured but is already in stable condition while continuously being treated in a hospital. Evacuation was also carried out in nearby establishments, while the operation of the construction site has been suspended pending investigation and safety assessment. The BGC management, on the other hand, reassures the community that the area has been secured. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The ongoing pandemic around the world has brought many people uncertainties that cause them depression. However, Filipinos are known for being resilient amid the hard challenges. Let's get to know this inspiring people and how they persevere in these trying times, as Janice Inhente reports.
Arnel Aba is one of the country's best para-athletes in swimming. He runs a swimming coaching business. Arnel says that swimming is his turning point in life. But when the COVID-19 pandemic began, he has faced another challenge. He lost his bread and butter because he was forced to close down his business. But this did not stop him from moving on and working hard. Despite his impairment due to his loss of a leg, Arnel now works as a food delivery rider.
Kahit na ako may kapansanan na talagang
pinilit kong maghanap buhay para sa aking pamilya. Kahit pa paano may panggastos kasi mahalaga na hindi magutom pa yung pandemic.
The para-athlete food delivery rider admits that his job is not as easy as before, yet he strives to continue for his family.
Sobrang hirap, nahihirapan talaga dahil katulad ko sa akin may kapansanan. Example, kung may booking or may ipapadeliver na medyo mabigat na bagay, and then kung ipapasok ka pa sa building, yung mga maesters. So sa akin, mahirap na challenges. Pero kung magawa naman ay masaya dahil nagawa ko ng tama yung pinapagawa sa akin. Dapat hindi talaga susuko kasi pagka ikaw ay mapanghinaan ng loob, kawawa din naman yung pamilya mo. So dapat hindi. Tuloy-tuloy lang. Kung ano yung paraan na kayang gawin ay pagsikapan.
Meanwhile, Nurse Rafael Bunaflor, a medical frontliner, faces different challenges every day. With increasing number of COVID-19 patients, Rafael experiences exhaustion due to long work hours and lack of sleep. Despite this, he never even considers quitting his job.
Siyempre, dumadami na rin yung cases ngayon, kaya doble ingat talaga kami. Kailangan naka-PPE lagi kasi di mo alam sa ER kung yung kausap mo ba is may dala ng virus. Ito yung sinumpaan namin trabaho eh. Tsaka sa panahon ngayon, wala kasing ibang gagawa kundi kami. Kami talaga yung inaasahan eh. So, tsaka kagustuhan na rin namin talaga tumulong.
Rafael is now under quarantine after being exposed to a COVID-19 positive patient. On the other hand, Sherry Ann Herrera, a private company employee, admits that one of her fears is getting vaccinated. She admits she is afraid of syringe needles.
Pagka nakakakita po ako, nung bata pa po ako, pag nakakakita po ako ng karayan, tapos nakikita ko po yung mga classmate ko, pagka tinuturukan po dati, umiiyak po sila. Kaya para po ako nagkaroon po ako ng takot. Mula po noon, hanggang sa paglaki ko po, ayun na po, parang nadala ko na po sa sarili ko na ayoko pong tinuturukan ako ng karayom.
Nonetheless, Sherry Ann courageously received her COVID-19 vaccine shots and is now fully vaccinated. According to Sherry Ann, she wants to set an example for other people who share the same fear she has.
Siyempre, una po sa lahat, ang pagtitiwala ko po sa Diyos na siya nang bahala. Siya naman po ang mas nakakaalam kung ano ang makakabuti po sa atin. Kaya nag-decide na po ako. Inisip ko rin po, protection ko rin po yun sa sarili ko. Siyempre sa mga kapwa-tao ko, sa mga nakakasama ko, at siyempre sa mga mahal ko sa buhay. Kaya talagang nilakasan ko po yung loob ko.
During these trying times, we face different struggles in life. But we should never lose hope, and we must always remember that there is God on whom we must depend. Like Arnel, Rafael, and Sherry Ann, we can also overcome the challenges we are facing because if they can do it, you can too.
Kaya ko, kaya mo rin.
Kung kaya ko, kaya mo rin.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, dozens of anti-lockdown protesters were arrested in Melbourne. Nina Bascon reports why.
Around 400 Victorian police officers outnumbered the 90 people who went to the city centre on Wednesday night to protest the lockdown extension announced by Premier Daniel Andrews. Police said in a statement this morning that 69 individuals would be charged of health direction breach and would be served infringement notice. One was arrested for use of offensive language, while 3 others have outstanding warrants. Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius warned against protest organizers who are more concerned in provoking the police instead of preventing the spread of the virus. Chief Commissioner Shane Patton meanwhile said the police at the scene were pleased that majority of the Victorians stayed at home instead of joining the protests. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Canada is being accused of breaching international agreements after a report was released detailing their armory exportation to Saudi Arabia. Joselito Liquido tells us the details live. Yes, Joselito, good evening.
Mariel, rights group Amnesty International Canada and Project Flowshares in a joint statement are demanding Ottawa, Canada to immediately halt all armory exports to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. According to reports, the Canadian Prime Minister is being accused of violating the Arms Trade Treaty, an international agreement that Canada became a party to in 2019. Evidence of these weapon exportations allude to the breaching of international humanitarian and human rights law, specifically in Yemen, where weaponry, including armored vehicles and sniper rifles, could have been used in the war, the world's worst humanitarian crisis, causing millions to suffer from famine and hundreds of thousands of deaths. The rights groups in previous years have pleaded for the cancellation of the 15 billion Canadian dollar weapons contract to Saudi Arabia, but has since continued and in 2020, export amounted to 1.31 billion Canadian dollars in weaponry. Mariel?
Joselito, what is the Canadian Prime Minister's stance on this?
Mariel, the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is defending the exportation of the arms and weapons to Saudi Arabia, reassuring that the trades were meeting the human rights and foreign policies. The Canadian government is said to be enforcing a series of robust systems which ensure domestic laws and arms trade treaty obligations are being met. That's why trades have been continued. Mariel?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, for that live report. Social networking sites Twitter and YouTube, both owned by Google, are banning any content that denies and glorifies Srebrenica genocide. RK Lorca tells us why live. Yes, RK.
Mariel, the Institute for Research of Genocide Canada, or IRGC, had requested Twitter and YouTube to remove content from their platforms that denies and distorts the truth about the Srebrenica killings in Bosnia. A YouTube spokesperson confirmed that Google have an established hate speech policy prohibiting content that minimizes or negates well-documented violent events, including the Srebrenica massacre in 1995. Contents violating the hate speech policy, which prohibits a wide range of behavior, including glorifying violence and genocide, will be removed, while repeated violations will lead to termination of account. Most of the online content denying, glorifying, and revising historical facts of the systematic murder of more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslims comes from Serbia, Republika Srpska, Russia, and France. In July, Valentin Inzko, High Representative for Bosnia, imposes jail terms for anyone who publicly condones, denies, or grossly trivializes the 1995 genocide. Bosnian Serb politicians, however, were outraged by the decision of the High Representative and threatened to boycott Bosnia's central institutions. Meanwhile, Mariel, IRGC Director Emir Ramik said that the confirmation from the two tech giants is another battle won and serves as justice for the victims of the worst atrocity since World War II. Mariel?
Thank you, RK Lorca, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
The Members Church of God International has launched its latest innovation for public service, a mobile free store that delivers food items where it is most needed. And it is here in Metro Manila. Janice Inhente has the story.
Rolling the streets of Quezon City, the mobile free store of the Members Church of God International has delivered free food groceries to ECQ HIT residents. 200 residents from the KJ Street, Barangay East Camias, and Barangay Kalusugan were chosen as recipients. One of them was 84-year-old Teodora Brondo, who still works as a street sweeper. Eudora was forced to stay at home during the ECQ. However, her problem is how to feed her 7 children and their families. She is now thankful to God after receiving food items from the mobile free store.
Ako po nagpasalamat sa kung may kapal na ngayon na pandemic ay maraming pong napagtulungan sa taas. Kaya po maraming salamat. Ay sa awa ng Diyos, wala naman sa amin sakit. Wala naman kaming dapat na sa pangangatawan, sa kalusugan. Awa ng Diyos, hindi kami nag-aalala kasi alam ko na kasama namin ang Diyos.
To avoid overcrowding, the recipients have pre-ordered the items that they need from the store. When their items are ready for pickup, local officials assisting in the area will call out a representative from the family to get their food basket at the mobile store. Barangay Councilor Julius Cesar Sevilla lauded the distribution and the system on the MCGI Mobile Free Store.
Ito pong gantong proyekto ay tamang-tama po sa ating napiling mga recipient, no? Tamang-tama po. Maganda naman po, maayos, no? Na sumusunod ho tayo sa lahat ng nire-require ng gobyerno na health protocol, no? Ang sistema po, hindi po magkakagulo ang mga tao. Inayos na po natin yung mga kanilang pangangailangan at tayo na po ang magdadala sa kanila o paisa-isa lang po ang lalabas. Napaka-systematic naman po.
MCGI Representative Manny Franza explains the concept behind the innovation.
Ang mobile free store po kasi na naisagawang konsepto po ni Brad Eli tsaka ni Kuya, nasa isang area lang sila. Ngayon po, bilang paglapit sa mga tao, ninais po ng ating mga nangangasiwa ni Brad Eli tsaka ni Kuya na ilapit sa tao. Bagamat maraming restrictions ang mga barangay, tayo po ay nakipag-ugnayan sa kanila sa LGU para mag-isagawa po ito. Salamat sa Diyos sa pakikipagtulungan ng mga barangay officials.
The MCGI Mobile Free Store is set to travel in different areas in Metro Manila to help more people in more need. Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And before we close, we will leave you with the final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." And those are the reasons behind the news, August 12, 2021. I am Harleen Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.